Speaking of those film savants that you like to impersonate, should we talk about the film savants that are on the anti-Florence Pugh bandwagon?
Oh yes. How dare she? How dare she get a paycheck? How dare she have some fun in her life? A young actress. How dare she? We haven't seen every other actor do that. Look, listen to what Helen Mirren, Dame Helen Mirren said it correctly, okay? She joined Fast and Furious and everyone was like, why on earth are you joining Fast and Furious? And she said, because it looks a lot of fun. I get to be in a car, I get to do all this crazy stuff. I watch it on screen, I'm like, look at me, I'm old, this is amazing. Look, this to me is a problem with the film society, okay? I'm gonna tell you right now, if you study film, if you love these artistic, avant-garde movies, that's amazing. If you do not study film, and you love every movie that Jason Statham makes, if you love every movie that I can't think of another actor, I feel bad because I like Jason Statham quite a bit, that I'm pointing him out only, but if you like these Fast and Furious movies, and you like all these kind of dumb, fun movies, that Gerard Butler, another one, has been putting out lately,
Yeah.
that's
Liam
great.
Neeson,
It's
old man
art.
era.
It's art.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong way to make art. There are rules to film that are broken all the time. And if they're broken in the avant-garde way, everyone says this is a new, incredible piece of cinema. They've broken all the rules and the boundaries, and they break it in a bad movie, and it's, oh my god, how are these guys making movies at all? They clearly didn't study film, blah, blah. And it's like, that's just not true. It's art. Every art is allowed to be liked and disliked. So for an actress of Florence Pugh's caliber, who has been doing bang-up job after bang-up job, I would love to see her in lots of things. There's no reason I should not want to see her in Marvel as well as Midsommar. I want to see her in both. And she does both. We've been seeing people like Adam Driver do Marriage Story and then bounce back. Actors have even talked about that's what they like doing. They do the big superhero movie, they go to a small independent movie. We've seen Chris Evans do small independent movies, and no one freaked out at him because his independent movies weren't at the caliber of some of Florence Pugh's independent movies. They weren't this deep ground uncut. They were just small budget independent movies. That's what an independent movie is. It's small budget. That's what it is. The original Star Wars is an independent movie. It had a small budget. Everybody thought it was whack and weird. That's what an independent film is. Here's another thing I freaking can't stand about people. The goal of an actor is to be successful, to make money, to expand your range, to do all these things. It's an artist's goal. That's their goal. My goal is not to make barely any money and to act in your off-Broadway production that is, whatever Barney Stinson did in How I Met Your Mother for 5 hours where he's squirting water and pretending to be a robot. That's not your goal. You can enjoy expanding, but the goal of any actor, I think, is to be able to get to a spot where they get to be a little bit more picky about what they do. They're financially secure in what they're doing. They get to take care of their family. That's their goal. Marvel's a way to do that. When Marvel comes and says, hey, you get a chance to bring this character to life, that is a big deal. That's a great thing. There's no such thing as a sellout. That's their freaking goal. People say with artists too, oh, this artist sold out. They didn't sell out. They got paid for what they wanted to do, and they are doing it enough where they can get paid to feed their family for the rest of their life. Do some people take this crazy route where they make all these and it feels like they're only doing paycheck movies? Yeah. And that's also fine, because maybe that's their goal. They don't want to expand their range as an actor. They want to get paid to do something they enjoy. All that's fine. If you are truly angry at Florence Pugh, you need to go outside and touch some grass. You got any thoughts?
Yeah, I think getting mad at actors for making bank is very silly. I think for some people who do enjoy movies, they tend to forget that they probably discover actors or discover different types of movies through like the blockbusters that they see. I mean, I know for myself, honest to God, I was able to get into movies as much as I did because I was discovering
Me. You kidding me?
I was kind of discovering Alex was a big part of it, but I did discover
Me.
I did discover, different types of actors or just the idea of like how our how artistic expression can be put into something like a blockbuster because of, Man of Steel or Avengers movies. Everyone just has their different own path when it comes to discovering different types of movies. And on the actors' side of it, for what projects they choose, look, we always want to see actors do different things and not just, superhero stuff, but that's on the audience. Like, the audience should be the ones making way to do that. I kind of am losing my train of thought now of what I'm trying to say. I just don't see it, like you, Alex, being that big of a deal because, yes, there is art being put into, like, an actor's performance, but they also do need to make money to be financially secure at the same time. And we have seen many actors be able to handle both. I mean, many Star Wars actors have been able to, do very interesting different projects that have led them to, being nominated for Academy Awards, for example. Adam Driver alone, in between Star Wars projects, was able to work with Noah Baumbach twice, Martin Scorsese, Ridley Scott twice. He even got nominated for an Oscar during that stretch. So it's not impossible for an actor to be able to schedule around big projects to be able to do smaller stuff. Some schedules might be difficult than others, and they might just have to work that and get on the other side and be able to have their own choice once they're done with those franchises. But for the most part, actors can find a way to schedule around their work. So it doesn't worry me that Florence Pugh is doing both projects, because seeing her in smaller stuff and being able to build her career to where she got an Oscar nomination and she was able to land a big Hollywood blockbuster, like, that's awesome for me as a fan of her work. And it's also really refreshing that she's still able to do both. She has an interesting project up on Netflix I have yet to see, but it sounds way different compared to what she was doing on Black Widow, for example. So I think for those complaining, I don't know if it's like the independent cinema space, like work-wise, or if it's, people on Twitter who are just on the side of being film snobby, but just make sure that if you really love these actors, that you are supporting them outside of the blockbusters, I'd say. That's kind of what I was trying to mention a bit earlier before I lost my train of thought.
I think it's mostly people in the indie sphere of Hollywood is what I believe her quote alluded to.
That's kind of what I feared.
It's just look at somebody like Naomi Harris. Okay, Naomi Harris comes out in an indie movie that's amazing in 28 Days Later, and she goes on to be in No Time to Die. She's in Venom. She's in Skyfall. She's in Pirates of the Caribbean. She's in Rampage, and then she's in Moonlight. Mm-hmm. Oh no! How dare she? Pick the roles that you want to pick. Like, if you get to that option and you get to pick and choose, or people approach you and say, we'd love for you to be in this, that's amazing. She's an incredible actress. She does tons of indie work. To be honest, I have a feeling there's a little bit of sexism involved in this, because I don't hear people shouting to the heavens that Tom Holland should take a break from Spider-Man to be in an indie movie. Like, you don't hear it the other way around ever, People have gone on, look at Andrew Garfield. He did 2 Spider-Man movies, and then he also went on to be with Scorsese and made Hacksaw Ridge and made all these really great movies that are getting him Oscar nominations, and they're, really letting him have range as an actor. Every actor is going to go about it different. If you think that way, you're an idiot. If you think that way, honestly, about any art, I think you're an idiot. So, all right, we can move on, unless you got any other thoughts.
I guess real quick, when it comes to how to think about movies, I kind of think of it, because I'm a graphic designer, I view it in the same way as graphic design. Like, graphic design does use artistic elements, but it's used on the side of business, not so much on the side of artistic expression. So when you think about movies, I think of, like, the blockbusters or some mid-budget type things as the art of, like, similar to graphic design, to where, yes, you are putting your own artistic personality or your own artistic style, but you're using it for business purposes, whereas you can go off and do, art on your own time, to where you can have such creative expression, such as the independent cinema scene, but there's plenty of room for both, because, yes, one's to make money, and yes, one maybe not as much, but you know what I mean? Like, there is just room for that way you are using artistic elements. It's just for different types of purposes. So,
I got another point when you're done.
I view... Yeah, I would just say, look at it when it comes to, all these actors choosing roles for different reasons. I just view it in that spectrum, so maybe that's a good way to help out with other people in that regard. But that's just how I view it too.
I got one more point, because I know we're going to talk about Pedro Pascal's comments on the Actors Roundtable, but when you watch those roundtables, or you watch Vanity or Variety, and they have their actors on actors or anything like that, and they talk to actors who like went really, really deep into certain roles, or like really powerful, usually indie roles, they almost always say the same thing. What are you going to do next? And they always go, I want to do a play. Like, most actors will say the same thing. That's where the actor's medium is on stage. It's not on cinema. And so when, the old saying is that the stage is for actors, TV is for writers, and directors are for cinema. And there is a lot of truth to that. I think that it doesn't exist as much anymore, but I do think there's a lot of truth to it still. But that's what most actors want to do. If you want her to go truly be the incredible indie actor she is, why don't you go support her in whatever, play she's going to be in next, when she does that. Yeah. Anyway, we can move on.